Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today's Friday. So you guys know what that means. Grab a red cup, wear something red, do something red, paint your lips red, I don't care. And remember, everyone deployed. Our military protects us, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I want to celebrate that. So happy hour is on its way. My buddy Clint Westwood's on the other side of this. I have all kinds of woo-woo conspiracy things to talk about today with you guys. So it's going to be a great day. Be right back right after this. Welcome. Happy Friday. Westwood, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? You're looking good.
I'm late. Oh, thanks.
You're late.
It's a deep red. I'm wearing deep red today. I'm feeling deeply about red today. I have my red cup. Speaking of which, today is the last day to order your red cup. So that was my thumbnail. Today's the last day to support the channel and order your red cup. Where is the link? Why can't I find it?
Sponsor the Happy Hour Roadshow. Be a part of something great. Make Happy Hour great again.
13 items sold already.
13?
200,
We need 4
210.
more.
Yeah, we need at least 4 more.
Need 4 more.
Oh, 14. One just
3 more. 17.
Thank
we need 17 at least. We should get 45.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what we should get. 45.
That would be awesome. Or 19. I think 19 is going to be a significant number in our future as well.
Oh.
But don't. And we'll lead into all kinds of more of those information. I've been sharing a lot on my Patreon lately. Everything from Kim Clement prophecies to Reggie Middleton interviews to last night's interview with Jean-Claude and Juan O'Savin was, if you, and I know you guys can, if you can critically think and listen and put all the pieces together, where, like, if you have, those bubble charts where things like overlap.
Oh yeah, where they come together and there's like a
yes, and where it overlaps, there's things that overlap, and I'm gonna play a couple parts of some of these things for you guys, just for fun.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, it overlaps.
And there's a little magic sweet spot right in the middle.
Sweet spot.
Yeah. So
it's the Q spot.
It's a Q spot.
All right.
It might be 17 kind of ways of making you happy. I don't know. Who knows?
Cheers to you, Lisa. What you drinking?
Cheers. I just made a drink, and I'm drinking a little Tito's and grape Zevia today.
Grape Zevia.
I went dark today.
Getting the flavonoids.
I got my
out of the grapes.
I got my dark red on, and my instead of strawberry, I went grape Zevia. That's not a calm. I'm just talking.
Just
silly.
Just what happened to happen. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Just being silly.
Transparent glass.
Oh, that's
gasoline.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Does it have like ice in the bottom, or it's
no?
Like
it's just the way it's got like the way that it's
the
glass.
Yeah.
An inlet. Yeah.
I see.
It's a volcano. It's symbolic of Hawaii, and it's bubbling up.
The double volcano eruption.
Double
week.
Volcano. I know, right?
Yeah.
Just think I could be on the Big Island right now if I'd taken that teaching job way back when. I know. Good thing I'm not. The Big Kahuna has stayed in the blue state of Illinois.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm glad. Keep your kahuna.
Get your kahuna in the Midwest.
Yes.
High
Get
ground.
your kahuna in some high ground, because the tsunami is coming.
The storm is upon us.
The storm is upon us. You guys, a lot of people, and I've shared this, we talked about it on the show last week, and then we shared it in the Patreon about the let's see, the Supreme Court. I think if you've been watching JC and Snippy, they've been keeping everybody up to date on this. And he's having an interview with Brunson. Brunson versus Adams, which is the court case. And if I can't remember where I've heard this statement, but it's in this document, and that is fraud vitiates everything it touches. And I don't know, is that a Cliff High comment?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
It's from something. I've heard that before.
Because I know Jean-Claude goes back to that data quite a bit and quotes it.
Yeah. I can't place it, but
it could be
in here. So this is where they're saying, like, you need to go kick out all of Congress and all this, and this is why, and to impair. Okay, vitiate. Here it is. Our courts have consistently held that fraud vitiates whatever it touches. Morris versus House, 3-2 Tex 492, blah, 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 blah. It is stern but just maxim of law that fraud vitiate everything into which it enters. Vitiate means to impair, make void, to destroy or annul, either completely or partially, the force and effect of an act or instrument.
Like doing this.
So I can't see what you're doing. So
oh, you can't?
I know you're making a lot of noise.
It was just... All right.
Okay. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I'll drop a few more fun things with you guys. What else? I know Bick sent me a message before, so I don't know if he's still watching, but he was getting
probably not
for being late.
He's probably like, that's it. I don't have time for this.
He's like, I waited long enough for those.
It's like, it's 2:00. It's 2:05. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. I can't take it. I got to get to the early bird. I got to get to the early bird dinner and get the discount.
Thanks to all of you guys who waited on us.
Love you, Dick.
So let's see. Did I put the times on these? No. Okay, wait. Copy. This one was really exciting to me. This one was fed up to me in YouTube. Hold on, I'm gonna go. Okay, wait. Yeah, that's about all right. I think that's the right part. It may be before it. I can't tell. It's like YouTube's changed the way they count time on YouTube.
You know what their problem is? I've looked into this. The problem is they don't have a Litecoin watch, so they cannot keep proper time.
Where do you get those?
Coinvigilante.com.
Coinvigilante.com.
Yes, go to coinvigilante.com. I have this
beautiful women's version they just came out with.
Slick.
It's rose gold. Oh, I'm trying to not get a glare. Rose gold with a mother of pearl face. You can get a Bitcoin or a Litecoin watch. I have a Litecoin watch, so I got Bitcoin for my rose gold. So I have my rose gold Bitcoin, and then I have my silver and black Litecoin watch. So I'm set and ready for the new.
Hey, we're ready. We're gonna have to synchronize our watches.
Ready for the future.
So
I have my red pill.
Battle. Yep, get your big red pill.
My big red pill. I'm ready.
Big red pill.
I am ready for everything coming at me.
I'm telling you. Looks like it. Hey, going on right now, Elon Musk tweeted. I like this dude. He's no longer with it. Well, no longer in the physical form. But you've got Elon Musk said at 5 p.m. Eastern time, he's going to come out with evidence of the laptop from hell.
Oh.
I mean, he tweeted that out. Yeah, actually, I don't even think it's Elon doing it at this point. Seriously, it's sounding more and more like some of the drops from Letter 17. I mean, just saying. I mean, some of the stuff that's being tweeted out by that handle.
Saban said last night, and I have to go back and rewatch. I believe he said that Zelensky was the Antichrist.
I can so see that. I mean, look at the dude.
Makes a lot of sense.
Look at him. I mean, I've said this before, but it's like you ever watch Hostel? It's kind of like Hostel, these terrible movies where they lure people in and torture them. And the guy running it's usually like some kind of little man Napoleon syndrome kind of thing. And then he's got these big thugs standing next to him all the time. Zelensky, ever notice that? These huge hulking, just people that are just going to rip your arms off and torture you and do all kinds of things. And I'm thinking something just doesn't look right visually. I'm just, you look at the whole thing, and plus he's an actor. He was a comedy actor.
And is
you go look up some of the videos. And he's still an actor.
And a cross-dressing dancer and all kinds of weird, strange things.
Who needs $1 trillion to rebuild Ukraine?
Well, then today he made a statement that he was denouncing all these religious organizations or churches. And I was like, wait a minute. Since when does the United States pay for, sponsor, or support anyone denouncing freedom of religion? Like, something's wrong there, right?
What's wrong with this picture?
What's wrong with this picture?
Biden is he's going to come out with a new slogan. It's inside information, and get your T-shirt now. It's going to be Muga, not Muga. Make Ukraine great again. Muga.
Oh, I thought it was 31 flavors.
Muga. Make Ukraine great again. That's what we're doing. We need $1 trillion, 5 years of GDP of Ukraine to rebuild after the war that's not over.
So this Kim Clement prophecy that was done back in 2014 also mentions Ukraine. Talks about that. It's pretty.
I like that he's
powerful.
got the background music when he.
I know it makes me crazy.
Does it? Is there too much going on?
Is this a singing part, or is he going to actually say something? Can I just fast forward?
Right.
It annoys me.
It's like going to church. These big churches around Christmas time, they've got like 5 shows. Get your tickets now, and they got like angels flying around, and it's like Ringling Brothers.
It is ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. And Juan talks about that too. That's actually, it's one of his dreams is that he has that Sleepy Joe comes swinging down on one of those things and bonks his head on the
somebody said, and I don't know who it was, on
the bench like you have out at the pavilion.
Oh, the pew. Knocks his head on the pew, and that's the end.
And that's what takes him out.
And then the dark forces come up and grab him and pull him down.
Yeah.
Somebody said, and I don't know who it is, and I can't fact check it, so I'm just talking crap right now at the bar after having a little bit of scotch. But somebody said, was it The Simpsons? There was something that predicted Joe Biden will no longer be with us, and it gave a date in December. I don't know what the date was, and I'm just like,
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Whoa, and so that would be another Simpsons prediction come true. Maybe I don't know. It's like December 12th or something. I can't remember. But Cliff's got his data. It says we were going to have some kind
December
of
December 13th through the 15th.
Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. And that's give or take a few days, because with FTX he was right within that range, a couple of days, and I mean that was huge, very emotional.
I have some video about FTX too. Maybe I should do that first. Which one should we do first?
I don't know. Whichever one you want to do. Let's just cue it up.
I have so many little things to share.
I'll be honest with you. I'm just happy that November's finally over. Because because this is the whole no nut November thing. I mean, you know how difficult it is not eating nuts for all of November when you're a vegetarian? It's very difficult.
What? So I never heard such a thing. I'm finally
able to eat nuts again. No nut November. So, being a vegetarian, I'm back to eating nuts. Plus, I got to go on that. I got to go back on that fast thing, the cleanse too. So I'm going to be.
I know we have to do that on January.
Glad we didn't start that in November.
I'm really excited about it. Oh, look, there's Josh. Don't tell your future mother-in-law. I'm really excited about the cleanse in January. Yeah. Okay. I think we should do. I don't know. I think the FTX thing is just beat in the ground, but it is part of it. I think everybody on this channel knows what's going on with it.
Maxine Waters.
Connecting it with Alameda Research and Tether is important for everyone to know.
Tether's been able to manipulate the crypto market for a long time.
Yeah. Stable coins are not stable coins.
No, because
they are derivatives.
Right, exactly.
Also watch Mike Maloney. I think I shared that in my Patreon as well. Mike Maloney did an excellent job with an education of our financial system and how the Fed writes checks on empty bank accounts and then charges us, and then we pay for it through taxes.
Yeah.
And
that's-
they have an infographic at the end, shares the whole disgusting cycle, all of that.
And see, the insidious thing of the whole thing is you can't pay enough tax to pay the debt off because it's unlimited. They just, I mean, there's trillions of dollars missing. What, the Pentagon just for what, the 5th year in a row failed their audit just the other day. I mean, before 9/11, they had 2.3, I think, or 2.1 trillion dollars missing from the Pentagon back in 2001. And it was just missing. And then 9/11 happens and everybody forgets about it. It's like there's so many trillions of dollars that have been created that we don't
How
even
many
know about.
more since then? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to pay that back. So why are we getting taxed for, like, it pays like that much? All that is just like the mafia, money packet. Hey, leave me alone, so here's the money for the business.
Here's your payoff.
The grift,
Here's 10% for the big guy.
Yeah, that's all it is. There's your IRS, 10% for the big guy.
Yeah. And it shows where they're all in on it.
Because they can print the money. They can just print it up.
Okay. Let's do this one real quick.
Breaking news. Darren Beatty, take a minute and explain this SBF FTX before I get into her, because there's now news breaking that it's even involved that SBF, through one of his PACs, was funneling money into Maricopa County and to Katie Hobbs. Who is this guy? And by the way, all that money should be given back. Who is this guy? And how to become a bigger donor, as big a donor and influential as Soros?
Well, this is a really huge story. And if you want to see probably the most jaw-dropping investigative report you've ever seen in your life, go to revolver.news and read the piece that we have right on top about Tether, asking, is Tether the Biden world's BCCI? Now, the title itself might seem cryptic, arcane, all of these references nobody knows, but the story is simple and it's explosive. So we've all heard of FTX, which is this crypto exchange run by this weird scammer guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, who also happened to have a hedge fund that he was using to kind of support the scam of the crypto exchange and taking money from the exchange and putting it into the fund. And he also, by the way, happened to be one of the top political donors in the United States, one of the top donors to the Democrat machine. And so, long story short, it didn't take too long for people with any sense to put together that FTX, given how politically protected Sam Bankman-Fried is basically a money laundering operation through the kind of Clinton overworld element of the Democrat machine, of the Democrat apparatus. And you've seen he's given tons of money to all kinds of Democrats, also to some Republicans, and that's an interesting story in and of itself, but you'll have to stay tuned because Revolver has a big piece on that.
Keep that in mind.
It's been in the news and it's been saturated all over the place. But what we found, and it's the subject of the Revolver report, really the most jaw-dropping investigative piece that you'll ever see. So just go and look at it. If I'm wrong, don't listen to me again. But this makes FTX potentially look like child's play. And so what is Tether? Tether is the third largest cryptocurrency in existence. But unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are mined and produced according to a publicly known
and Litecoin
procedure,
I know, they always ignore it.
Is a stable coin, meaning that the value of Tether is allegedly backed by US dollar reserves that the Tether organization carries. But here's the kicker.
Allegedly.
There's never been verification that they actually hold those reserves. Since the inception of this cryptocurrency, the third largest cryptocurrency in the world, and really the engine that drives the liquidity of the whole kind of cryptocurrency ecosystem and exchanges, it's predicated on the notion that there are US dollar reserves and it's never, ever been properly audited. Now, if that seems strange, it gets even stranger because you say, maybe it's never been audited because the people involved in it are just so upstanding and trustworthy and technologically sophisticated. Well, if you want the full rogues gallery of the people involved in the founding of Tether, read the whole piece, but I'll just give a little sample, a little teaser. One of the founders of Tether is a washed up kind of child former child actor, Disney actor, Mighty Ducks star, incidentally, for if anyone wants some 90s nostalgia, Mighty Ducks star, and he starred with Sinbad in a movie called First Kid. He went on to have a weird history. He was involved in some kind of sex scandal where he was arrested in Spain by Interpol, and allegedly there are all kinds of weird and creepy things found when he was arrested. And if you want the sordid details of that, again, go to the piece. But he was never
Look up
put
an
in jail,
open
never
secret.
charged, nothing ever came of it. And then all of a sudden, this child actor embroiled in some kind of underage sex scandal, who was arrested but never charged with anything and has no technical background to speak of whatsoever, emerges as this cryptocurrency mogul behind the third largest cryptocurrency in the world, which is entirely predicated on the possession of US dollar reserves, which has never, ever, ever been audited. And if you think that's weird, it gets even weirder. Because not only is this the bizarre story that it's never been audited, the Tether organization defies the US Treasury in all sorts of ways that are really bizarre and inexplicable. But here's the third dimension that really connects all the dots, in my opinion, and is the thesis of the piece. Tether happens to be, I'm not making this up, Tether happens to be the official cryptocurrency of the Rohingya rebel movement in Myanmar. Gee, isn't that interesting?
Who's been screaming about Myanmar?
This weird history that's never been audited, that has no transparency, that's run by all these people who seem to be compromised in some kind of fashion, just happens to be the cryptocurrency of one of the major US-backed rebel groups geopolitically. And we learn further that Tether cryptocurrency is beloved by Sunni rebels in Syria. Exactly those kinds of Sunni rebels that may have been referenced in that now infamous Wikipedia leaked email with Hillary Clinton, where she admits Al-Qaeda is actually on our side in Syria. And that's not even to speak of all the weird stuff going on with drug cartels.
Hang on a second. Can you hang over through the next break? We got MTG coming up. I want is real quickly. Your thesis is that when you say BCCI, the reason it was never audited, it was never shut down, and allowed to fester, is because the intelligence apparatus used it relentlessly.
Right. I was building all of the BCCI.
Okay, hang on. That's why I'm going to hold you over. Darren, you've got so you got this cryptocurrency that is supposed to be the most stable of them all because it's supposed to be backed, I guess, coin for coin by a Federal Reserve note, by a US dollar. Yet it's never been audited. It's the official cryptocurrency of the rebels in Burma, backed by the Central Intelligence Agency. It's for the Sunnis, all these different groups around the world in these cartels. It's the official crypto of those. That leads you to believe, with your investigative hat on, to what conclusion, sir?
Well, you know, one thing that I've discovered through the recent years of sort of following all of the machinations of the government and its proxies is they actually don't reinvent their playbook much at all. And the usefulness of that knowledge is that if there's an historical precedent for something and that something still has a function, chances are whatever that is still exists in a slightly modified form. And there was this bank set up in the 70s and 80s called BCCI, which was this big scam bank. They scammed their depositors. They did all kinds of business dealings with the shady figures like arms dealers, drug traffickers, and so forth. And it ultimately blew up like any scam like that does, but it took a long time. And it was weird that it took so long. And it turns out there's a reason for that. And that is that it was one of the principal vehicles through which the CIA laundered money in the Iran-Contra affair and other kind of similar operations where they need to funnel money and support to US-backed groups with plausible deniability. And the bank was probably set up for that purpose, but if it wasn't set up for that purpose, that became its primary purpose and why the scam was allowed to continue. And in my view, I think the BCCI is the perfect model from which to understand not only Tether, but also FTX, and probably a wide variety of other crypto institutions. This is the digital version of the BCCI apparatus.
That's the BCCI was allowed to hang around for so long and do this because it was a bank the CIA was using to do all types of nefarious activities outside the reach of Congress, outside the reach of the appropriations process. And when it collapsed hard. In addition, this is what doesn't make sense. I got to get the MTG, so we're going to get you back Monday and over the weekend. The this guy SBF with FTX, the crypto and the hedge fund and the fund of money into Ukraine. Natalie Winters is on this. Breaking news: somehow Katie Hobbs and Maricopa County are part of the pack. They're getting money from these guys. This guy's laundering money to everything, and now you see he's going to be laundering money to defeat the Kerry Lakes of the world. This thing's to high heaven, and here's why. The Wall Street Journal, and Steve Cortez put this up the other day, was I think on Friday's paper. The Wall Street Journal has the framing of the story on Bank Freeman, SBF, is that, his plan to save the world has collapsed with his bank. They're framing it, this guy's some sort of savior. This guy's some sort of great guy that just maybe made a mistake. He was too ambitious, spent too much time saving the world, And, a couple of bad things. His accountants weren't on top of things. This is the Wall Street Journal. Once you see the journal in here, you know that something's up, right? They're framing it. They don't want anybody to touch this, BD. They don't want anybody to look under the hood on this thing because they understand it stinks. They understand this has got Uniparty written all over it. Otherwise, if they've been funneling money to MAGA, trust me, and this is not whataboutism. This is about every story would have been nonstop. CNN's coverage would have been all over this, right? They have cameras, they have helicopters over the guy's place in the Bahamas. That's not happening. He's coming to speak. I think he's going to be either be Skyped in or he's going to speak at the New York Times Deal Book. They're still going to let him speak next to the rogues gallery they've got.
A minor detail I left out: Alameda, which was the hedge fund run by the FTX scammer Sam Bankman-Fried. Alameda was one of the 2 principal backers of Tether. Interesting. One of the 2 biggest backers of Tether was Alameda.
That ties the whole circle together.
Sam Bankman-Fried, and he was stealing funds from FTX to support.
We're going to have, by the way, this is what Congress ought to be doing when they come back, a full investigation and audit of Tether. Why is the Treasury Department never made up? And is this actually another intelligence front doing things off the...
Anyway, that
boom. He's 100% right. It's another intelligent front. I mean, it's just one more domino. I mean, that's what they do. And see, people don't understand why is everything screwed up in the world? What's going on? Well, because you got unlimited money to do things like this. And then it's not even enough to print the money. They got to steal the money from you. They got to take your energy away from you and steal it from you and get you to invest in it and deceive you and get all the Tom Brady's of the world, all the people to come in and support and pay them off so that they support it and to get you into their system. I mean, that tells you how weak they are, honestly. They have all these resources, all this power, and they're still trying to steal our energy and make us weak and give us bad medicine and give us bad food and steal our money and corrupt everything, and they still can't beat us. They still cannot take down humanity, these vampires, with all of this stuff that they've been doing. And it's much more than this. It's everything. And they still can't do it. So that tells you how powerful that you must be. And if you don't realize it, and if you don't think, oh, well, I can't do anything, I can't fight the system.
Right.
Yeah, you can. It's not that hard to do. You just disconnect from it and unplug from it and take your energy away from it. That's all you got to do. Stop. And hopefully this wakes people up. Or some people up. Some aren't going to.
Even if it's just one more.
Doesn't matter.
Time
We're going
can
forward.
Share the message. Everybody that you can share this video with a friend of yours. If you can talk to somebody, share more information. I've got a couple more videos I want to share to tie everything together. Everybody, put on your critical thinking hats. I know we're having a happy hour day. We're just buddies talking in the pub, loving America, talking about our country, talking about the Constitution, our God-given rights, and freedom. And
show the video so I can connect some dots, Lisa. I'll do it.
Okay.
I've been drinking.
Hold on. So last night, if you guys didn't watch the, well, first of all, before we go into this, there's a pay-per-view from Jean-Claude's. If you haven't gone to see it yet, it's cost $3 or something. Totally worth it. It's a Jim Willie interview where Jim Willie starts talking about Reggie's Veritasium. He has some information. I don't think it's all the way accurate, but it's interesting information. So you might want to go watch that. Everybody's talking about Reggie. Everybody's talking about Veritasium right now. It's just insane. With that said, then last night, so Jean-Claude started on YouTube, then he went over to Rumble with 107 and Janine, who we all love so much. And I love that she's like, yeah, the signs are saying warning, warning, but it's just getting better. So I guess it depends on your perspective. Things may be getting harder, but if it's getting truer, to me, that feels better. I don't care if the road gets harder, if more truth comes out. I'm willing to face truth and pain if that means things get better. So then last night they started this video. I think I'm around the right time. It was around 1:35, which I gotta love that. They were talking about, you guys remember this famous picture from the Dick Allgaier crypto viewing crew where they're like, there's going to be this thing where military descends down the walls on ropes and the Congress people are puking and it's emergency. And this is all tied around the death of the dollar. So a few weeks ago, I got into it with Reggie and a team well, not a team meeting, but I was after a meeting, and then Reggie came on and we were talking, and we disagreed about, I was devaluing the dollar. I was saying it's crap, rip it up, who cares? And he was like, Lisa, the dollar will always have value because the U.S. military backs the dollar. And I do. I love our military. I love the United States. I'm very much a patriot. I'm very loyal. And so I was really struggling with that, balancing that in my mind, you know. And then I thought, what if the dollar is redefined? And which dollar are you talking about? Are you talking about constitutional dollar, not the Fed, which is not really the dollar? You know, what are you talking about? So anyway, so they're talking about this, and then Juan jumps in and has an opinion about it. And he starts describing something that sounds very familiar to me.
Some people in there in the hallways, a group of them, not real happy, sobbing, disbelief, you know, adjourning for the last time. How could they adjourn for the last time?
Mm-hmm.
Add the Supreme Court case on top of this. Oh my God, check the box, check the box, check the box. And that's where I think we're heading.
Check this out, Joe. Dick sent me another slide that was part of this remote viewing. I had interviewed him the last couple of years on this. He had never showed me this slide. And what was interesting here, it says not continuity of government, continuity of wealth, time to implement plans. Now,
continuity,
the conversation
not
Cliff and I,
continuity.
have been having the last couple of years. We always understood that this stock was but we weren't sure if they were really going to look at the financial system. And now we're looking at perhaps what McAfee was doing, perhaps what other players are doing behind the scenes. There's this idea of perhaps returning to somewhat of a gold-backed standard or bimetallic standard here in the United States. Juan, how do you see this tying in here, the economic component here of this transfer of power for the last time, this adjournment, and perhaps this implementation into this new world economy? What would you say to that, Juan?
Well, okay, so let's think about what is money? And if we're returning to something closer to constitutional governance, the original design that America had, the original blueprint. You guys used to talk about blueprinting an engine back to factory specs, the way it was to begin with, as opposed to all these variations they might have. If America's in trouble, and if the Congress acts and we go vote in new people, special elections, all sorts of things, we're probably going back to something closer to the origins and removing a lot of the clutter. In the monetary world, what dollar is it that's going to die? Is it the fiat dollar that's run by these globalists, of which our Federal Reserve is just a branch office?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it constitutional money? I believe constitutional money will do just fine. It'll do fantastic, which is what gold and silver, coin. And so constitutional money will have its value and move forward. And lots of people, when you look at people anticipating their fiat silver and fiat gold, which is just certificates that, people are trading around, even cryptos. A fiat crypto is not near as safe as the real money, gold or silver. That's why a lot of the crypto operations are trying to go to a gold or silver backed crypto material, that has something tied to something tangible, not just in the digital world. So I think constitutional money will do fine. If you see trouble ahead, switch and get some, and classically, by the way, gold and silver, they neither spin nor toil. If you bury them under the bed, they don't do any work. You have to leverage it against real things. In fact, if I have a choice between a tractor and a gold bar, I want something that'll do work, that has value. But there's moments in time where you have to
Interesting. That's biblical.
go to the curb. You have to get out of the way. You have to pause. And so gold or silver are a repository of wealth. They're a store of wealth, but they shouldn't be your permanent parking place because they don't make anything. They don't do any work of themselves. So it's a temporary location till you can get back to something that does work, that produces things, whether you loan it to people that do work and they pay you back a premium for the use of your money or value, or you invest it in the machinery that builds wealth, or the education that can make you able to operate the machinery in a positive way that makes wealth. And that's what America does. America makes things. It does business. And we invest our labors into things that do,
That sounds familiar. So somebody should listen to that with some critically thinking ears. Cheers. Happy hour.
Cheers. Prost.
It's a bright new future here in America. It's very bright.
Absolutely. I mean, it does come down to that. I mean, it comes down to, again, that is what money is meant for, sound money should
Mhm.
store your energy. You know, you could define energy as anything you put your action toward, anything your, you know, mind, body, whatever it is, work, labor, whatever you want to call it. But your energy, I like to call it your energy because you're producing energy and you're devoting it to certain things. And it could be time, you know, all of it, energy.
Right.
So, I mean, you
Your
need to have
knowledge.
sound money
Yeah.
to hold that for generations. Otherwise, I mean, you've led a life of just, you've been vampired, basically. That's why I call them vampires, because that's what they do. They steal your energy. They steal your
So
time with the money
to
by
be,
devaluing it.
I'm the queen of hopium. I'm the hopium hustler. I wear it proudly. I always will be. This is a prophetic word from 2014. Now that you guys have listened to all that, oh, well, I should listen to one more thing. Oh, no, there are things, there are announcements coming. Hold on. Let me check one more thing to see if it came out while we were talking. Hold on. More to come shortly. There will be language crash. Use a direct. Oh, okay. Here's something that is public. I can share. This says, okay, Veritans, which are people that hold Veritasium, apparently. This is going to be a pre-announcement for Veri token holders. Reggie is going to give some thought to the language and craft a message. But here's an idea behind the announcement. So this was shared on the Veritasium official Telegram. So if you're not already a member and you're a Veritasium holder, you should go become a member to the Veritasium Telegram and watch the video there. I wonder if I should play it here or if I should just let them go watch it there.
Do your own research.
Yeah,
She's giving
do
you all
your
the
own
tools.
research. I'm giving you all
Check
the
'em up.
tools.
Come on,
Yeah.
man.
So there he's telling you there's an announcement. Now, a prophetic word from Kim Clement. I apologize for all the dramatic, cheesy music and all this.
It's kind of catchy, though. You know, it's like Bollywood in a way. It's kind of, you can't stop watching it.
It's so annoying. Okay, here we go.
Soon. Surely you would show me a little bit of it closer to the time. And the Spirit of God said to me, this man has a humble stature, but he is a genius. And then I heard gold. I wasn't sure if this was attached to his name, but he said to me, he will restore the fortunes in this nation. Because of his brilliance. I couldn't quite see his face because that was not allowed, because there was a mist that covered all the people and he was amongst them. And the Spirit of God made me look at him, and he said, this man will throttle the enemies of Israel. This man will throttle the enemies of the West. And there are highly embarrassing moments that are about to occur for many, many politicians in this nation. There will be a shaking amongst the Democrats in the upcoming elections, but unsettling for the Republicans.
Awesome.
Why is God doing this? For God said, I am dissatisfied with what emerges from both parties. And then there is a nation, he showed me, took me, itching for a new kind of war with America. They will shout, impeach, impeach, they say. But nay. This nation shall come very subtly. But But he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer, a man of choice words, not a man who is verbose, who has verbosity, who speaks too much. They will even say, this man is not speaking enough. But God says, I have set him aside. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but this shall not happen. And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises.
Another Snowden arises.
And people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And then God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Ha! I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled. And yet some more. And then you shall hear the sounds of great victory. For where are the people gathered? Where are my people gathered? Where is the sound of unity from my people? I want just this crowd here and all the thousands watching all over the world. Just do me a favor. Just for about 30 seconds, raise up your voice and shout. Come on!
So at the beginning of that, I guess I didn't go back far enough. He says that the nation will become one. Let me back up and see if I can grab that real quick.
From my eyes, scales. I was praying for America and I was praying for Israel. Nothing unusual. And suddenly behind me, starting behind my back, going in the form of an arrow, were hundreds of thousands of people. And I turned around and I was stunned at what I saw. This was not just a mere dream, but this was a vision. And so I raised my hand like this, and every one of them raised their hands. I looked back and they were doing the same thing. I shouted, and they all shouted. They were one.
We were one.
They were one. One party.
One party. Did you hear that?
One party of people.
One party of people. And then he goes into the gold thing.
It continued until I realized that the unity of these, amongst them stood one that God had set aside to be the leader of this nation. I said, why am I hearing this so soon? Surely you would show me a little bit of it closer to the time. And the Spirit of God said to me, this man has a humble stature, but he is a genius. And then I heard gold. I wasn't sure if this was attached to his name, but he said to me, he will restore the fortunes in this nation. Because of his
continuity
billions.
of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Put all these things together. I'm telling you. Put all these things together. All these messages right now. Continuity of wealth.
That's it. Wealth, not money. Wealth.
Not
Wealth is
money.
a little bit different.
Continuity of
Different
wealth.
concept.
Talking what 107 said about going back to constitutional money.
How do you become one party? And so you think about that. We're so divided now, supposedly. We all are just this side or that side. And, oh, yeah, this person said that, so I hate that. Oh, I'm following this person. So we're all divided. How do we become one? What would be an issue? What would be one issue that galvanizes people and brings people together to where we don't care about politics anymore? We're like, that's wrong. Take your breath away. Top Gun, take my breath away. That kind of thing. What would it be that would make us just stand together and say enough is enough. And my thought is
to know that they've been so in that
to
message,
know what they've been doing and what
Yeah.
have they been doing.
in that in the video from Kim Clement, and if I haven't already shared it with my Patreon, I'm sure I have, but I'll go back and double check. He talks about how sick it is that these countries have been feasting on their babies.
Mhm.
And that's
Literally, figuratively, completely,
literally, and that will
stealing
need
their
that will
energy
be
like
healed.
vampires.
And think about what's happening in the Supreme Courts right now and it being pushed back to the decision at the state level. And that has to be changed because they were, when you think about the bribery that was going on and the blackmail, and they were using our children to blackmail these people, it wasn't about the money even then. They were using, or it wasn't even about the children. The children were just a thing to them. They weren't people to them. They were using our children to blackmail people, to manipulate this wealth and to steal. And guess who's paying it? Guess whose wealth they're stealing from? The energy makers, which is us. When they call us useless eaters, we're not useless eaters.
No.
We're the ones that produce everything. We're the producers. They die without us, without our energy.
Correct. They're vampires. They produce nothing. They need us. But what they do, like every good Satanist does, they invert everything and they turn it upside down. And you look at it and you think, well, maybe that is the case, and they're smarter than I am, this and that. No, they want to paint that picture and train you from the very day that they get their, hands around your head, and they can start manipulating you in the school system. They want to make you obey and think that you need to do this, and then you might attain the level that we are. You might climb that mountain, that pyramid, whatever it is. They put themselves in a different place that you think is, respect your elders, respect, people of authority, respect these people. And then they abuse you.
Exactly. Don't question authority.
Trust
And that's where
yourself.
one of our
Screw
girls,
them.
one of our girls was asking
They gotta
about
earn my respect.
the recent death of the Fleetwood Mac member. And she's like, well, now I'm wondering, like, were they involved in something, or why is that playing out right now?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, so she's old. Maybe it's just a legitimate death. Yeah.
It's hard to say.
But at the same time, I just said, you know what? Question everything. It's never, no question is ever wrong. Accusations are another thing, but questioning things is never wrong.
That's
Always
how you
ask
learn.
questions.
You got to question. If you don't, then you're just, repeating this, what somebody tells you. Well, what if that person's giving you garbage? Then you're just repeating garbage.
For yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you've been lied to your whole life. I'm telling you right now, you've been lied to your whole life about so many different things. I mean, math might be the only thing that works and you can prove, but there's so many other things that you've just been lied to. History, completely lied to, because whoever wins the war writes the book and writes the history. So the other side doesn't even get a say. And so, all that's vanquished. And then you look at the people that rise to the top, the ambitious, really, really evil people end up running things because they're so ambitious and they don't care. They'll do whatever it takes to get to the top. They'll write new laws to protect themselves, create their own, places of security to where, hey, we can invest in the stock market and have insider trading as members of Congress, but you can't.
Right. So that's another thing. I did an interview with Nick Morgan from ICANN for the Very Dow. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, please go watch that on the Very Dow channel. It's got great information. Reggie's on there, Trey Cupp from the Very Dow, and Nick Morgan from ICANN, which he's a former SEC litigator or a lawyer, and now has come to the light side. So brilliant guy. But they also just filed in another case, an amicus, which is to remove the accredited investor status, because that's another way that they stop the little guy from playing in the big reindeer games.
Right. That's it. That's why crypto is so dangerous for them.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Yes.
dangerous, because
Yes.
cryptocurrency is nothing more than just little words written on paper. That's all it is. And then
It's
we say,
code.
hey, wait a minute, we're going to take this code and run it on these, cheap laptops that, we can buy for nothing. And then pretty soon enough, people say, wow, this is pretty cool. This is pretty powerful. I'm going to send you 1,000 Bitcoin when it's worth a penny a piece. Hey, cool. And you start sending it around, then pretty soon more people catch on, and it's like, well, it's no longer a penny. Now it's $1. Now it's 100. Now it's 1,000. Because there's more people that realize the value of being able to have that free transfer of energy. I mean, yeah, there's a cost to producing it, but to send it, there's no government and central bank involved in it. We're just saying, hey, we're just going to take these words and run this code on machines. And we're going to have this decentralized network where we all opt out and say, we're going to use this. This is pretty cool. Very efficient. And
so Elon's nightstand recently had these really weird, had this fake gun on it, which was strange, with a copper chamber kind of popped out of it. The gun had no trigger on it. It was missing the back half of the oh gosh, why am I blanking on that part of the gun? Barrel of the gun. So it was laying like flat on the thing. He had 3 or 4 gold Diet Coke cans.
It was like caffeine-free Diet Coke, I think, is the gold can.
I didn't see caffeine-free
I think that's what they are. That's what they used to be. I'm thinking like 1990, though. So, but I think it used to be caffeine-free Diet Coke in a can was gold. And I'm thinking, well, what are you drinking? Colored carbonated water? There's nothing in it. I need some caffeine or something. But yeah, that was interesting. And he's got the
it
little
was
ring
very
marks
weird. And then it had this device.
Yes.
That public said is from some movie or something about a free energy device.
It goes back to Egypt. It goes back to Egyptian. If you look at the hieroglyphs, if you look at the pictures in Egypt and several other cultures, they've got this double. They hold these things, the pharaohs and all the different, gods or whatever they are. They hold these things. They're like forked on one end and forked on the other end. It's like this power device. Nobody really knows what it is, but it's been used in all kinds of other, mythology and stuff. But it's actually I think in Hinduism too. It's harnessing the air and the earth and the power,
the Tesla energy in the environment.
Exactly, that's what it is. It's like this
which
universe
has been
God energy
proven, whatever,
that you can capture in the atmosphere. That's there, and you can redirect it. And it's just like this double-sided. And that's what it is. And for him to have that there, it's almost like this new paradigm. It's like opening it up again to where you could say it's free energy. You could say it's, this lightning bolt of truth coming out, whatever it is, but it's significant that he posted that or whatever group is behind his Twitter handle posted that.
It says Diet Coke. Oh, it does say caffeine free. But like you said, how long ago were those? And they're all gold. And then there's this
I don't know
box.
if they make those anymore, the gold cans, do they?
I don't think
Somebody needs to help me.
but I don't
drink any of
know.
that stuff, so I don't know. Somebody, if they know, if you can get it on the shelves.
A box with George Washington crossing the
Delaware.
The Delaware, yeah.
In
a Durham boat, right? In a Durham boat?
I'm not sure. But the thing is, that's a collector's item gun that cannot be fired, I don't think. And then so I start thinking of these things. Okay, you've got these guns that can't be fired. And it's like, do you need to fire them? Because we've got this like energy weapon, which basically is just hidden knowledge. So that's what
public said was this gun is like off of a movie or something about energy weapons or something. But this is a little energy device over here. This little
and it is. It's in like a video game too. It's used as an energy device to like take you to Valhalla or something and transform power. And I don't know what it is. Somebody who's a gamer would know this. But it's still it goes back to ancient times. These energy things. How do you think like the pyramids were built and things like that? All these ancient structures with perfect cuts and these massive stones. There had to be some sort of technology that we've lost. And this is symbolic of that, at least. I know, right? Yeah. That's another thing that's there's all kinds of things to analyze. But don't think that this wasn't completely posted to send a multiple variety of messages, because it is. And that's why I say this is almost like, okay, the sock, I guess, what Cliff calls it. This is, you can call it 17, you can call it whatever. It's just like things are moving into place on the chessboard, and then information is being revealed right now, and you're getting clues. Things are happening. You're seeing what happened at the southern border just the other day, where somebody, I don't even know who it was, they're showing these children. Oh, these are my kids. I'm bringing them across the border. My mom, the mother, my wife, abandoned the kids. So, I'm bringing them into America, and he's got multiple kids. They're all sedated. They're drugged. You can't even wake them up. There's lights in their eyes in the dark.
No, it's terrible. Those videos were, just as a mother to watch those children.
Horrible.
And they're
because you know what's happening.
Yeah, the guys are like, oh no, they're just sleeping, and the kids are clearly. My children have been knocked out with medication for procedures, multiple, open heart surgeries, cath procedures, whatever. I know the difference between a drugged child and an asleep child,
and a tired child.
Yeah, these children are drugged, and
exactly.
It's so disturbing to see that.
All of them. So one of them would have snapped up
them.
And been like, oh my God, the lights, and been scared.
Yeah,
none of them. They're all drugged, sedated, and these males, they're trafficking them in. And see, this is the peeling back the first layer of the onion, to where people are like, oh my God, this is really happening. And then it goes to Balenciaga, then it goes to
and a distraction.
Then it goes to the real deal of what's really been happening, and then you're going to understand why I call them vampires, because that's exactly what they are. They've never changed. It's as bad as you want to imagine. All the movies that you've ever seen, I bring up Hostel for a reason. Everything that you can imagine that's horrible and depraved about humanity, if you want to call them that, that's what they do. And these are the people that are running the show. And they're the ones that are continuing to steal your energy. Why are you putting it in their exchanges? Why are you giving them the energy?
So this is weird. This is a little off topic, but I'm going to just mention it real quick. In Oklahoma, there was a huge ice storm. Lots of people lost power, and they pretty much across the state upped everybody's energy costs because they said it was because it cost more because there was an outage, and then they're charging the people even while they're in outage. Then they post this picture, 66679 is the story, and they're exposing it and calling it out. So, and that's about stealing people's energy or charging them for energy. So all these stories are kind of
H. Alian. I want to say your name right, brother, or sister. Doesn't matter. Human. Hello, human. Hello, human. It's H. Ian in the chat. And you said something about. Let me go back to the exact quote that you said, because you were right on it. You were right on. Okay. Our entire system, in an economic sense, is based on restriction. Scarcity and inefficiency are the movers of money. And the more there is of any resource, the less you can charge for it. That's exactly it. They're creating artificial scarcity. We live in a world of abundance. What you're seeing there with that little, object that Elon put there on his desk, the energy's all around us. Look at lightning bolts. Look at all the energy that produces. If we could harness that, it's unlimited. But see, they want to convince you that we live in a world of artificial scarcity. They want to convince you that, oh my gosh, there's not enough oil. And the oil that we do bring out of the ground, it's polluting the environment. We're killing the planet. And so they got to put restrictions on it. And that's what you've been seeing. Well, we're going to have a diesel shortage. It's gasoline, we're not going to have enough. And they keep trying to throttle it down as much as they can, because they want to exterminate you, and so that you're controllable. Georgia Guidestones, they put it right in your face.
Yeah.
They want to control.
But that's for that plausible
the population.
Plausible deniability. Westwood, though, that's that plausible deniability that then when the one 100%. Of these Hollywood guys did a video, and he was like explaining it, that in satanic cults, if they tell you about it, then they don't get the bad karma from it. So like if I have a basket of poison apples and I have a sign and say, hey, poison apples, but they're free, and if you take one and die, then I don't have bad karma from that. And that's what
they understand the rules of free will and what God put in place. They understand that, you make the choice. And so they have to deceive you to take this and eat the apple. I never told you had to do it, But
Think
we
big
did
pharma.
kind of propagandize it, and make you think that you had to.
Mhm.
And you did it on your own. If you don't trust yourself, you're done. You listen to these people, they will take you to the gates of hell. That's what they do. And so they tell you they're going to do it. They put it right out in front. That way they have no culpability. They're like, you're the dumbass that took it. And that's exactly what they think. And then you guess what? You deserve to be preyed upon because you're so stupid that you couldn't even see the big billboard that told you not to do it. We told you what was going to happen, and you did it anyway. And
Absolutely.
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And that's why trust your freaking self. If you think you shouldn't do something, you better not do it. You think you should do it, you should probably do it. Don't listen to the noise.
48 minutes ago, Musk says what really happened with Hunter Biden's story by Twitter being suppressed. We're going to post at 5 Eastern, which was an hour ago. And then about 40 minutes ago, 4:21. No, that was a long time ago. It's 5:10 right now. It says we're going to start tweeting in 40 minutes. But I don't see any.
Well, they're watching our show. They're waiting for us to end so they can do it. That's what's going on. No.
I don't see a link to. Would it be on Twitter or not? Or just straight
go
on
to Elon? I would go to Elon's handle and see what's going on.
That's where I
So
am, but
you're
it's
looking
not,
at it. I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, but it's not. He doesn't have anything on there.
That's interesting. I don't know. There was a Twitter Spaces going on.
We'll include live Q&A.
There's a Twitter Spaces going on right now that a lot of people are in. I know. Maybe that's what's happening. There's an actual Spaces where it's being. But you would think that handle would be in it. And I say that handle because I don't think Elon's running it. I think there's a group of people running it. It was on Spaces? Okay. Mitch is saying it was on Spaces that it was.
It is.
I retweeted a couple of things, where you had like excerpts and compilations of the laptop from hell. I mean, these are just like clips where things are edited out. You know what's going on, but it's like,
I don't even.
This is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And my son's the smartest person, I've ever known. And I'm thinking,
is it StreamSeas? Like, what's the name?
Do you know what
There's one with Elon Musk and 8,000 people.
That's probably
Hold on. There, I'm going to invite you. And can I invite? I wonder if I can text it to myself or.
Maybe we should all jump in and get off this live stream. Or can you broadcast it live?
I can broadcast it live. I just have to mute myself.
Okay,
well, let me
see if you can jam it in
hold
there.
on. I have to think about how to do this from.
These are real world struggles, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have a crew that puts all this together and does all our makeup and gets us prepared.
So I appreciate
like
all the people that support me on Patreon.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a one lady show here. She does it all herself. So yeah, any support is greatly appreciated.
Very, very much.
Join her Patreon and support her every month. I mean, if you're going out and spending money at these garbage corporations, Starbucks, if you're going out and getting the Starbucks cup series, that has Krampus, scaring the little child, when you put them together, the demon thing. Yeah. Okay. If you're spending money there on a few coffees a month, maybe you should join Lisa's Patreon and get some real information. And maybe,
there are masters behind them, a corporate cabal of, warmongers and people that just need chaos to generate income, and shift taxpayer money into their pockets in the billions and trillions of dollars. So this is what's happening in the world.
Wow, Kim, that is incredible. Just the fact that you can break it down into simpler terms and that quickly, but that has to be some life-changing things to experience firsthand. And I know you're not alone, but I appreciate the fact that you didn't cower and you didn't bend a knee to these people who essentially are just big bullies. They want to shut people like you up, and instead you continue to speak out. And look, you've got 1.1 million followers, and you engage actively with Elon Musk. So I just want to say how much I appreciate the fact that you continue to put yourself out there the same way he's doing now, and showing that level of support to him as someone who's been there and been through it. Also, really quick, Spence, if you see Ian in here, he says he's
Just brought him up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Kim, I didn't know if you wanted to respond, but hats off to you. I appreciate you so much. And I feel so honored to even have you in a space that I'm hosting right now and sharing that with all of us.
So real quick, sorry, Kim, the call is dropping people and bringing people up like crazy. So I'm trying to get everybody up. I just brought Ian back up, but it is dropping our speakers. So okay, I think
let me just remind you guys also, if you appreciate what people have to say up here and you value them, make sure you follow them. Make sure that you can find them and engage with them on Twitter in the future. DM with them, respond to their tweets, share the information if you value what they have to say. It's a good gesture. If later down the road you decide, never mind, I don't like this, then you can always unfollow. But I appreciate all of you who have stepped up, and especially in a room with 10,000 people, it can be extremely nerve-wracking. If you asked me 2 years ago, I would have never thought that I would. Yeah, I would have never thought that I would be brave enough to speak in front of. I mean, I have a fear of public speaking, or I used to. But thanks to Twitter and Twitter Spaces, that fear is gone.
I just want to say to everybody,
hold on.
I enjoyed this,
Sorry.
but if it's going to be, no offense to you, Kim.com, I'm sure you have an.
I don't know that that's the right one.
No, what that is, it looks like the pregame show, because, in looking, I'm doing a little research and you went through it. Now I'm looking at it, what Elon is tweeting, they're still fact checking 40 minutes. So they have not released it yet. So the live tweets are probably going to come from Elon's account. He'll give you the links and all that, but this is a big group of people talking about, what is happening. I mean, we're looking at like Berlin Wall stuff falling down. I mean, that's the feeling I get, and it gives me chills because I remember that. I was young, but I do remember the Berlin Wall falling down, and it was a moment to where maybe there's hope. Maybe things can change. And of course,
maybe
the deep
there's
state
a
was still in
truth in
control
this
then.
world.
But now, I mean, if you look at the sequence of events and the things that have happened, at the right time, the right moment, this guy, this face comes in and buys Twitter, takes total control of it. I mean, we're talking owns it, and then starts bringing people back on the platform. So, hey, this is a free speech platform, and we're putting information out, and a lot of things are coming out. I mean,
what's the numerology of today? 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
A lot of twos.
That's
Okay,
a lot of twos.
Let me add it up. Deuce, deuce. Get your deuce, deuce. So we got 12. 0, 2, 20, 22, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 2. It breaks down to a 2. You know what my life path number is? It's a 2. So there you go.
Is it?
Yeah. But it's that's interesting. So go up and look at what's the 2 mean. And so there's so many things. I just get that feeling. And for so long, I've lost a lot of hope.
You've lost that love and feeling.
Yeah, I lost that love and feel. That's me singing to Lisa in the bar, when we're doing the Top Gun thing. Can I do a flyby, baby? But it's it's one of those things to where in my life I looked at it as, and I'm kind of a barometer of things, this generation in my mind anyway. But I've looked at it and I'm like, okay, what's the way out? What's the way out? Is it gold? Is it silver? I'm like, yeah, kinda. So that's what we're going to do. And then crypto comes along. But what crypto did, in addition to giving sound money in your possession, digitally transferable, that was kind of better than silver in a lot of ways, but, not always better because it's good to have it in your hand. I have one in my pocket right now. I always carry it. But what that did was, more than anything, this cryptocurrency thing, it activated something deeper in me anyway. It activated something at a deeper level and gave me hope that, hey, guess what? Maybe there is a way out. Maybe there is a way to fight this thing. And you know what it did? The technology that we're moving into, all of this communication, it brought all of us together. I mean, you think about that. We wouldn't be having this conversation, Lisa, if it were not for social media, Twitter, if it were not for these platforms, if it were not for cryptocurrency. I mean, all of us in this chat, our lives have been changed. We're witnessing something so revolutionary that, you're going to be able to look back and say, tell me about that time. Tell me what was going on then.
Well,
yeah,
and
I kind of lived through it.
Bitcoin and blockchain, for the first time ever, there will be a true account of history.
Truth. It's
There
a
will be
truth protocol.
truth. It's a
Truth protocol. Absolutely
Like,
a truth
the
protocol.
liars don't get to win this time. The
Right.
person that, the evil ones that won the seats, and the liars that manipulated the system to be the winner, and well, they won because they lied. Those lies don't get to be hidden in the dark anymore.
Right. Look at the resources that it took for them to do all this stuff. And then one action, $44 billion. And I'm not saying Elon's a hero, anything like that. I think there's a deeper process at work. But all it takes is one platform to where people can have free speech. Even though we're supposed to have it guaranteed in our First Amendment, but we don't, because there's the press, nothing. But one person says, one group takes Twitter offline and says, guess what? We're going to control this. And everybody freaks out like, oh my God, right-wing hate speech, this and that. But look at the power of that, allowing people to say what they want to say. Block them if you don't like it. Mute them if you don't like it. It's like you got the right to say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. But to have this happen right now, when we most need it, when things are really happening and things are being exposed, there's a platform for it to exist. So we're going to see what happens. I can change my mind if I don't think that, this is a white hat operation. Let's just say that. If I find that, in my gut that it isn't, but I think it is, we'll see what happens with this laptop thing. But I mean, there's just been so much information that's come out that I think it's going to continue to be this tidal wave. I mean, that red wave, the real red wave, not the Republican red wave. I'm talking, it's going to be.
Speaking of red waves,
is upon us. Yes, there's the red wave.
There's the red wave. Jim Montgomery, thanks for asking for the link to the today is the final day. So after today, I don't know if they close at midnight. I'm not sure what time zone, but today's the last day. And then all of these will be shipped to you from Custom Inc. And they have Team Mighty on them and celebrating the Warriors for Freedom to bring awareness to both the organizations for this year's awareness efforts. And then we've got, let's see, it says we raised $230 so far, 14 items sold. Our goal is 50. And, we'll keep going. So we'll see.
That's just it. We do what we can do.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if I want to get one of those cups, I still got a chance.
You still got a chance.
I got a chance. So let's assume that it's midnight Eastern time that this closes.
I don't know. I think
so. Let's just assume that.
And it just said today was the last day.
Yeah. So if anybody want to get in there and get a cup, I got to go in and get mine when I get out of here and rustle up a little fundage and get.
I'm gonna make sure I have a. Hold on. Let me update the description, and I'll put the link in the description for everybody. So
you bring this to a meetup. And you get in free. And guess what? Right. Litecoin Lisa and Clint Westwood will sign it for you.
That's right.
If that makes a difference.
For the next meetup that we have.
The next meetup.
Hopefully in December, if not in January. We're doing something.
I want to talk a little bit about Litecoin before we jump off.
Yeah.
Hold that in the back of your mind. Go ahead.
No, whenever you want to. I just wanted to go ahead. I updated the description. So if you guys are looking for the link, it's in the live chat. If you're watching this later, you should be able to refresh or look in the live chat. It's the very first link in the description. And we really appreciate all your support. Every little bit helps us, whether it's paying for streaming software or whatever. I do this because this is my passion, is telling the truth and trying to get as many people out of the old system and into the new system. And the people that hear the truth, that resonate, when you hear the frequency of truth that resonate, that's who our tribe is. That's who our community is. That's who we get to rebuild or build forward in the future and stop thinking about, they can make I love Johnny's definition of it. They can make all the rules about typewriters they want.
It's not gonna, we don't need the typewriter.
But we support that. That's wonderful that you make rules to keep people safe from typewriters. That's great. I'm not using a typewriter. I'm over here building with new things with my friends in this community with energy and sound money. And That's what we're doing in the future. And we're protecting children. And that's what's important to me. And so money is not, to me, a thing. Money is a tool. And for me, it's all about the future and to be used in the future. So right now, once again, I'm going to say it now, I'm going to say it again. I think it was said in a couple of these videos. Maybe 107 talked about it, but it really resonated with what Andy Sheckman talks about, what Bix talks about, is that when the dollar dies in a chaotic environment, when the destruction comes, the things that can't be destroyed are God's money, gold and silver. And so that's for protection of asset. And we know digitally, Bitcoin and Litecoin are gold and silver.
Yep.
Now, 107 said something a little else about that. He said, but you're not, when you tell that, there's a parable about the coins, and the guy gave his people that worked for him so many coins, and he said, what did you do with them? And the one guy said, well, I went and buried them. And here they are. And he's like, you didn't do anything with it. You weren't a good steward with that. So why even give you a tool if you're never going to use it? So some people that are wondering, like, why don't I have wealth? Why don't I have these tools? Why isn't money flowing to me? Well, do you have a plan for that tool? When that tool, if you want God to give you a tool, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to help and better the world? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to build? You don't need a tool if you're not going to do something with it. So think about that. Think about building the future, what you can do to increase as this truth protocol is rolled out, as we're going through this, fire of truth in our nation and the world. And it's out there. My gosh, you guys, when I was sick, I watched so much TV. It's on every Netflix. Go watch Dirty Money. There's a gold episode that talks about how they're putting mercury in the water to make it easier to mine illegal mines that are in it would be like a national park here, but it's like a protected area in places in South America, which is causing mercury to poison the people and the fish there. And they're like, we don't care.
Doesn't matter.
And then they use that dirty gold to mix in with the other gold. And so if we had a protocol that could identify every ounce of gold, track every ounce of gold, then that cleans that up. When there's accountability, when there's a truth protocol for every grain of rice, for every ounce of gold in peer-to-peer markets, then that's when we're all truly free. When everyone has an equal chance to bring what they create and what their energy to the market, then that's when we're all free. And that's when we all have an equal opportunity to participate.
Exactly. No, and it allows us to do that. And see, that's the thing. That tool can be good or evil. That tool can be track and trace every human being on the planet. It can be. But it can be also, bringing, like you said, pure food, clean, sourcing everything, knowing what it is. And it's up to us. I mean, we give energy to everything. We give value to everything. We give value to art. We give value to money. If this magic trick called the Federal Reserve note goes away tonight, if we just say, that's garbage, that's a magic trick, that's BS. Because you look at there was a picture of money in, I don't know, it was Bolivia or Venezuela or Argentina, one of those countries are always going bankrupt. Money just, in the gutter system, along the streets, because it's worthless. Nobody wants to carry it around. It's just such junk. There's no use for it because it doesn't have any value. And when you go to other countries and you look at their money and you're like, I don't know how much this is. It could have all kinds of zeros on it. You're like, I don't really know what it is. And it's because we give value to it. And if they give value to it, they're going to say, oh, that's a big bill. You can go buy a lot of things with that. But it's like, I don't know that because there's no value there unless somebody entrains me to think that way. And so, that's why gold is important. That's why silver is important, because it can't be destroyed. You can do whatever you want to it, and you can't destroy it. So people a long time ago said, you know what, that has value. I can hold that, and it's not going to go up in a fire. It's not going to get, goes to the bottom of the ocean. It's not going to get tarnished, rusted, and so those had value for a long time. Now that we're in a digital age, you've got these things that have value because they're purely defined. It's clean code. And you said the word clean. It's clean money. It's pure money. And that's why I like Litecoin, because it's very pure money. I know exactly how much there's going to be. I know exactly how much there is to go around for every person in the world, the country, wherever. It's a worldwide monetary system. And, it's 0.01, a hundredth of a Litecoin to go around for every person. It's been running for over 11 years, which is an eternity in the digital world. Uninterrupted, no problems, transacts, never an issue. And then I've done a little, there it is. Yeah, that's one of the things I retweeted, because it's like somebody did a mashup of the Hunter Biden video. This is
a mild, recorded. But this is mild from what I've been.
They've clipped it. They don't show all the stuff going on with the girls and how old are they, and smoking crack and doing all this stuff. This is the president's son. He recorded all this, and then a lot more. And that's what Elon is going to, prove that, hey, this is what you're dealing with. I mean, these are the kind of people that defend this behavior. My son's a great person. He never did any of this, did anything like this. It's just ridiculous, to make these allegations. It's a big hoax. When the truth is revealed, and if you still align yourself with the vampires, with the demons, then you got a real problem. You better take a hard look at yourself in the mirror.
This is not a Republican Democrat
It's not. There's nothing to do with that, because there are Republicans involved. What? Mitch McConnell running the Republican, fund, got $2.5 million from the FTX fund, the one that was funding the Democrats. See, McCarthy got money. They're funding the people at the top because they want to keep the control structure in place. That's what it is. They got to keep the vampires up top. There are good people in Congress that get elected. The thing is, though, they don't get to chair the committees. They don't get to do the things that, the real power, these people are all about maintaining a power structure. That's why you haven't heard anything. Well, you've heard it, but that's why this laptop has not been investigated. And all the activities that have gone on. This guy got how much money from a Ukrainian energy company to sit on the board? This guy you're watching right there. What kind of talents does he have? Other than his daddy was the vice president.
Giving 10% to the big guy. Yeah.
See, it's all a big scam. And once you realize that, you say, man, how do I get out of this vampire casino? And that's why I preach about Litecoin. That's why I talk about physical silver.
Using the Fed dollar.
You stop using the Federal Reserve note. It's
I'm going to,
dollar silver.
I'm going to share that. Make sure I share the Mike Maloney video.
That's your cigar that you didn't smoke.
Can share with friends and family
give me that humor.
For them to understand how the Fed writes checks out of a bank account with zero. If you or I tried to do that, we'd get locked up. But the Fed writes checks with a bank account of zero and gives it to the banks, who then charge interest to you to take loans on.
So you're
and then
saying
they rehypothecate and rehypothecate and rehypothecate.
The Fed's writing cash with their mouth that their butt can't cash.
That's right.
What you're saying. We've had a few of those people in the bar. So anyway, I want to talk about Litecoin a little bit as far as
let us know what's going on with Litecoin.
Number go up. I got to grab a cigar here. I've waited too long. Now I'm going to fiend it.
No, you're
all right. All right. So anyway, I don't inhale.
Check on the.
All right, go get another drink. Get a refill.
No, you're good.
All right. So Litecoin. All right. So I've looked at the charts. I followed Litecoin. Litecoin was suppressed in the last bull market. I mean, and the reason why, if you look at FTX, and I think, a buddy of mine, I'm not going to mention his name, he looked into the FTX situation, how they manipulated Litecoin without holding the Litecoin. Since they were the second biggest exchange, what they could do is have perpetual shorts and all this stuff that I don't understand. But what they could do is,
Oh, now you have to tell me who did that, because I missed that part, because I was all excited because Litecoin and Bitcoin were not a part of FTX.
No. What I'm saying is they weren't. But what they did, they held none of it. But since they had an exchange, they were able to put, the screen up that said, oh, we've got all this Litecoin and we're taking out longs and shorts on it and this and that. And It was a derivative.
But they never were. It was a derivative.
It was all a derivative. It had nothing to do with it. But what that did is change the psychology of the market. Litecoin's a shit coin. Look at it go down, never goes up. You know, and then you've got all these influencers that come out and talk bad about it, all these Bitcoin maximalists, all this self-perpetuating prophecy, all of these forces that they used to suppress Litecoin. Why? Ask yourself why.
Charlie.
Why would they suppress it? And then I'm in my mind, I'm like, well, it is kind of a threat to the system. It is kind of a threat even to Bitcoin, you know, as far as, you know, the ratio. It's like gold and silver. It's like way out of whack. And you and Johnny talked about that yesterday, you know, how it gets out of whack. I mean, it's something that can be used. You can send $1 trillion.
Wait, I've heard that term.
What's that?
Whacked?
Yeah,
Are we going to start seeing that?
Well, he's shot. He's shot. Remember that one? He's shot. He doesn't even know who he is. He's shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to his own funeral.
I hear Bill Clinton got COVID the other day. Did you hear that?
No.
Bill Clinton got COVID.
Thick bastard.
Isn't that crazy? He got COVID. I mean, I would think that he would be, you know, protected.
I'm sure he's all jabbed up.
I would be safe, you know. But anyway, so a lot of the Litecoin's been manipulated, and then once FTX kind of went under, wow, all of a sudden Litecoin pumped, and you see how it outperformed the market. Interesting. Well, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is just the natural cycle of things. And so I've looked at that, and that's what I look at. Stay out of the conspiracy stuff. All right, put that to the side, even though I think a lot of it's true. But if you just look at the natural cycle of Litecoin, there's two scenarios here. You've got Litecoin between now and June, because the halving to where each block of rewards, each block of transactions, the rewards halve for it. They get cut in half. So right now, if you're mining Litecoin and you happen to get a block of transactions, which happens every 2.5 minutes, you get 12.5 Litecoin as a reward. What's going to happen August 1st-ish is that it's going to drop down in half because it's programmed in the code. It's going to go to 6.25 Litecoin. So there's less Litecoin that you can get your hands on if you're a miner. It's just the way it works. So what happens when you're leading up to that halving, the last two times, and that's all I'm going off of history, is the last two times what has happened is from the bottom, when Litecoin hit the bottom in the prior cycle, in this cycle, it hit bottom at $40. At the bottom, before the halving, which happens August 1st, let's say, of next year, that goes up a little over 6 times the last two times. All right, so if you take $40, that was the bottom in June-ish, this year, June, $40 times 6 is $240. $250, depending upon, you know, what you look at. I'm saying 240. I like to be conservative. So between now and August 1st, Litecoin's going to go to $240. That's what I'm saying. Very conservative.
Yes, you've been consistent in saying this, though.
I'm fully confident that's what's going to happen. Now, let me
a big thank you to Fever Flav for buying a cup.
Oh, yes. What are we at, 15?
No, it's still 14. That was our 14.
Oh.
But big thank you. We didn't do the shout out to Fever Flav because
thank you, Fever Flav. So yesterday was Richard Pryor's birthday. He would have been 82, and he's from Peoria, Illinois. Just want to shout that out. Flavor Flav made me think of that. Anyway, I don't know why. All right. So that's the conservative Litecoin estimate. Now, since I've been drinking a little bit, had a little bit of scotch.
So our friend SL early on, and she has now moved all of her stuff to like her website, and you guys can check that out. I did an interview with her for my Patreon group week or two ago. I guess it was more than that. It was a couple weeks ago. But she had some predictions or some messages. They're not predictions. For her, they're messages from her guides that she gets. And so it's not even her information. It's messages from her guides. Messages that she had gotten from her guides were that Litecoin would have, was it all-time high this year? And then double that next year.
Well,
which I know that is way more than what you're saying.
No, stay with me.
Okay.
I will be faithful. Okay. All right. So I'm saying that based on historical, last two cycles, That's a very conservative estimate of what's going to happen. And I'm saying it's going to happen on June 17th of next year. You're going to see Litecoin at $240. The reason why I say June 17th is because it was like 44 days before the last halving or the one before, and 48 days before the other halving, in the past, that's when Litecoin peaked, because there's all that anticipation of, oh, it's going to keep going up, keep going up. And what happens is it's like, what is it? Buy the rumor, sell the event. So I think that's how it goes. So it's going to peak before the halving. That's what it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And I've pegged it to roughly 45 days before June 17th of next year. I say it's going to 6 times its low, $240, probably going to 260, but I'm saying 240. Like to be conservative.
And when's Trump's birthday? June. It's Flag Day.
I'm not sure what it is. Somebody look that up.
It's Flag Day. It's June.
Now, this is the conservative estimate. I'm going to tell you what Westwood really feels.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thought you were looking something up. All right. What I really feel, here's what the other
June
scenario.
14th, 46.
Okay, so we're in that time frame. I'm thinking give or take 5 days away from that, Anyway, I'm saying June 17th because I like 17. All right. So now, if Litecoin does what Dogecoin did last year in spring, what Dogecoin did was it was a dog, pun intended, for a long time. And then all of a sudden it just woke up and it corrected against Bitcoin and against the dollar. And it's still sitting way up there. It's like 10 cents a coin, and there's 130 billion of them. I mean, look at the market cap on it. It's huge. But what happened was Doge woke up. And if you look at the chart on Doge and what Doge did, I mean, it was down, down, down. Then all of a sudden something stopped and then boom, up. And what you're seeing right now when you look at the charts, Litecoin's doing the same thing that Dogecoin did. If it does what Dogecoin did, we're talking between now and the end of the year, you're going to see Litecoin at 50-to-1 ratio to Bitcoin, maybe 30-to-1, but I'm going to stay conservative and say 50-to-1. So if Bitcoin's sitting at $20,000, 50-to-1 is what? 20,000 divided by 50 is what, $400. $400 by the end of the year. Now, Dogecoin wicked up. So it's possible that you could see a Litecoin at $800 by the end of the year. This year, if it does what Dogecoin did. And so why I say that is people say, well, it's not going to move up that much. No, you got to look at history. You got to look at precedent. You got to look at the money that came into Dogecoin last year. Litecoin's doing the same thing right now, I think. If it does, you're going to see an $800 Litecoin by the end of this year. It will then go a little bit sideways, and then it's going to pump up, and it could go as high as 4-to-1, like Bix has always said, before the next halving.
Well, so Amy's wish for next year is that Bix will be right. Bix has been right on a lot of things.
It's possible that it could happen. I mean, honestly, looking at the charts, looking at just the suppression, looking at what Litecoin is compared to Bitcoin, I mean, if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen between now and June. I mean, you got like, what, 7 months, 6.5 months?
Yeah.
And Litecoin's not even $80. Not even $80. So I'm telling you, the worst case scenario is right now you buy Litecoin at $77 and it'll be $240 in June. I mean,
so when my mom first told me about crypto and all this, she would talk about these crypto guys who were like, I can't remember how maybe she called them crypto millionaires, but the joke was that they live in their mom's basement and they eat like ramen. And I was like, what?
They drink scotch and smoke cigars now. No, I'm not a millionaire. Trust me.
I don't understand. Like, yeah. What?
Like a red coin millionaire.
But if you value things differently, like if you're saying like, I don't care that this,
I don't care.
You say that my Litecoin is worth $50, $60, $70. But I think in the future, and not too long in the future,
no,
I'm going to, and remember what 107 said, gold or silver buried in the ground is worth nothing.
Correct.
But if you could have an opportunity or a mechanism that you could turn that into energy and use it in a business
Correct.
way or something.
He used the
Then,
example of a tractor.
oh, a tractor.
Yeah, he used the example of a tractor, and it's like, okay, so I've got this silver. It's going to go up and down, be volatile. I mean, Cliff gives these examples where, a couple ounces of silver, you can buy a bar or something, or an ounce of gold, you can buy a hotel in San Francisco that you used to be a doorman at.
But he said coins. I
Correct.
remember him saying coins.
Not bars. I shouldn't say that. Did I say bars? I mean a silver coin.
You said bars.
Minted by a government. And so that in and of itself, even though the government you think is corrupt and this and that, the mint has very specific standards.
Mhm.
They stamp it on there. You look at all your coinage. It has to be a certain way. And it's that way because when it's legit. I mean, for the most part, that's a legitimate coin.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's what the mint's there for. You used to be able to take silver and gold to the mint. They'd stamp it out into coins. That way you could carry around the coin and everybody say, oh, yeah, that's not counterfeit. That's legit. That's from the mint. And that's what the mint was for. People would take their money to the mint. Money, before there was a dollar, they would take their money to the mint and they'd put it in coin form. And it'd be like, hey, boom, United States Mint. And they're like, all right, it's good to go. I can take that anywhere now. And that's what this stuff is. It's money that exists outside of government. Bitcoin, Litecoin, gold, silver, it's money that exists whether or not the government exists. That's what you want to be in.
And that's what when people, which Deep Stake says, when we stop converting crypto value into fiat, this will all end. And I would say even the reverse of that, this will all end because fiat won't matter. That number won't matter, and people will stop.
It'll be sitting on the curb. It'll be sitting in
people will
wheelbarrows.
stop converting it.
You'll be burning it for heat because that's all it's good for, because you're going to want something that everybody else wants and something that you can actually transfer. That's why I like Litecoin.
Like constitutional money.
Exactly. Because there's a reason
we
why
will
it's in the
make
Constitution.
America great again.
And that's how you do it.
many
It's
different ways.
all about the money. They've gotten so out of whack. They've been able to do all the things that they've been doing because they've controlled the money. And they've deceived you as far as how much they're actually printing. It's just like, hey, we're just gonna print up $1 million, or let's say let's argue there's 300 million people in the U.S. Argument's sake, we're gonna print up $300 million, and everybody gets $1, and that dollar is what everybody has. Meanwhile, they go in the back room and say, let's print $1 trillion more for ourselves, and then pretty soon you're like, wait a minute, well, how come this thing is costing me $100 to get? How can it cost $100 when everybody's only got $1? It takes 100 people's power, to buy this thing. How can you just go out there and buy it and whip out all this cash? I don't know. It's a scam. That's what it comes down to. You don't know how much money's out there. And so the more money that goes into the system, the more the prices go up. And that's what inflation is, inflating the money supply. That's all it is. And so the after effect is the price go up. They're trying to tell you that inflation is price go up. No, it's not. It's an after effect of all the damage that you vampires have already done. So if you have sound money, that there's only so much of it to go around, and you can audit it on a public blockchain, and you know how much there is, that's what they're scared of. That's what they don't want to see happen. And so that's why it's so important for us to get in front of it and front run the whole thing to where there's nothing they can do at that point. We've already got it in our possession, and you're not getting any of it because, you know what? If you want some of it, you're going to have to give me that tractor. You're going to have to give me that car. You're going to have to give me that house. You're going to have to give me whatever I want because I know that I can take this money anywhere and it's going to be accepted and I can do whatever I want with it. That crap you got in your pocket you printed, no, I don't want any of it because I know you're going to print more of it. So no, I'm not going to keep it. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. And so that's what we can clean up crypto and this whole regulation reset that's going on with the debacle of FTX, which I think really is, if you go back to Cliff's data, he talks about that crypto will be the way of educating the normies about the financial system. And so as painful as that is, that's a part of all of this.
Absolutely is.
That is where we're going. I hope that you guys have gotten lots of great information off of this. That's always my goal, is to share information to get everybody moving into the light. We're moving forward. So
The light.
we're streaming on Rumble. We're on Twitter streaming. We're on HooTubes. We are on Clint's channel. We're on my channel. You should be able to catch us on Odyssey as well. Lots of good stuff. So lots of places to watch. Please like and share as many of them as you can. Get the word out. And join me on Patreon to support the channel and to message me for any information. Also to get, as I find information, then those are the things that I share with my patrons for their loyalty of helping to support me in the efforts and help me take care of my family. So this is the latest interview that I did with Reggie and Nick Morgan from ICANN, talking about their amicus they filed in the SEC versus Ripple case as well, where we have some parallels with them in the overreach of the SEC. And then he also discusses that additional amicus they filed about the accredited investor thing. And Reggie dropped some hints about some upcoming announcements that we have that I hope you get to see this weekend. So you guys should definitely go check out the Very DAO channel and subscribe to that and make sure your notification bell's on if you want to know all about that.
And if all these platforms go down, there's still another option. If you go to litecoinlisa.net, that is a method to where it's outside of the big social media companies.
Oh, 6 minutes ago. Hold on.
Did he drop it?
I apologize. He said Twitter flies. Elon has released.
The caged bird sing?
The bird has flown.
When does the caged bird sing? When Elon buys it.
The bird sings in the spring, which it's not spring yet. We're a little early.
Spring in South America, where Kim.com lives.
So the birds will sing in the spring is a cue drop, right?
I think so. But it's like, when does the caged bird sing? And that was one that came up a couple of times. Interesting. I don't know. You can make what you will of it.
The birds will sing in the spring.
We need Jay Snip4 in here to do a little repeat. So he's pretty good on the
we were supposed to meet yesterday on JC's channel with me and Bix and Snippy and talk about a bunch of stuff, but it got pushed back because Wano Savin jumped in. So we are meeting
bird is uncaged
next Thursday on the, is that the 8th?
That's way Wuju.
I think that's the 8th. Yeah, next Thursday evening.
What's the date? That's so 12/8. Okay.
The 8th. So Bix, Snippy, I, and JC will be talking about a lot of things. I've been sending them lots of links.
It's all coming. I feel the spidey sense, and I haven't felt that in a long time. Like I said, the Berlin Wall type feeling. It's that feeling that, okay, something's opening. There's an opportunity here to where we can manifest a new reality. And pay attention. So I say, trust yourself. Don't trust these holograms, this Project Bluebeam. If they start showing giants and UFOs in the sky, no, it's all fake. Trust yourself. Discern. Shut out all the noise and know what you know on a daily basis. The people you see, the people you know, most people are good. It's not all of this divide and conquer stuff that they're feeding you. Know that you are in control of your life. Know that you can make decisions. And you know what? Don't blame anybody else for a bad decision because you followed them. Don't follow them. Follow your heart. Follow your instincts because you're connected to something greater. You're a spiritual being. If you think you're made in the image of God, well, guess what? He's not going to abandon you. So you pick up the phone and talk to him because you got it right here. That's all I'm saying when I say trust yourself.
You have a personal relationship.
You don't need a priest. You don't need some intermediary. Go right to him or her.
That's right. Whatever. I know when my kids call, I can't wait to pick up the phone and talk to them. So all you got to do is
as a parent.
Home.
Exactly. There's the analogy right there. As a parent.
Call home. ET call.
I'm right here. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here in the rocking chair, smoking a cigar, drinking bourbon. One of you guys show up, call me. I'd rather you call me not show up because if you show up,
he might protect the fam. All right, guys. So stay woo. Watch all the good stuff. keep your critical thinking hats on. I don't care if it's made out of tinfoil or whatever your critical thinking cap is made out of. Just make sure you're thinking for yourself, making choices for yourself, and taking personal responsibility for your own wallet, heart, mind, body, spirit. So love you guys. See
Love
you next
y'all.
time.